Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate you being here. Today I have a video for you to share my experience with my Agleonema. I love Aglaonema, but I know that I've had certain challenges with them. And so I thought that because I found out so many wonderful things about my Aglaonema, that I would just share some of the things that I've learned about in caring for Aglaonema. And these are just my experiences. It's not to say that it would be universal, as much as I just wanted to share the things that I've learned while caring for them. This Agleonema is my BJ Freeman. This is one of my favorite Agleonema, if other than my pink ones, okay? Because I love my pink Agleonema. I have my Etta Rose, I have my Wishes, I have this Snowdrift over here, I believe it's called. I love all of those. But as far as my green Agleonema, this is my favorite. I love this plant. This was actually two plants that I purchased, both of them on clearance. Over the summer months, I had this out in Eden. So she was in perfect conditions to thrive and to grow. And the reason why I'm using her as the example is because my BJ Freeman was repotted when I got the two separate plants. I purchased them, I purchased them both on the clearance rack at Lowe's. And one of them had significant cold damage and the other one was just a weaker plant, and so they were both on clearance. I put them together. She is still doing really well. I just cut a whole bunch of leaves off of her because she was outside, and so anything that got burned in the summer months when it was acclimating to the weather outside, I took those off because I didn't want to bring in anything that would have pests on it. But something else that I did was I decided I was going to switch it over to semi-hydro. Right now she is still just in hydro. She's just in water, and she's doing really well because she shot out some new sprouts. So I know that she's completely fine. But when I unpotted her and I took her soil off of her roots, there was something that I discovered. One of the plants that I purchased, I took the little death baskets or death trap baskets off of the roots, and the other one I did not. I don't know that I necessarily felt the need to do an experiment as much as I didn't know if it made a difference. And so I just pretty much said, well, if one dies and one doesn't, then I'll know that there is a difference. Well, neither one of the plants died, but they were both in the same pot, in the same spot out in Eden, my garden outside, south side of my yard, but heavily covered with trees. And one of the plants, when I unpotted it, had death baskets on it, or the little cage baskets, and the roots were growing, but they were not staying attached to the plant. Whereas the plant that was put in without those cages on the base of them, they grew beautifully. The roots are amazing. If you love roots and you know Agleonema has some of the juiciest, yummiest roots you ever want to come across. Just like the Anthurium. Anthurium have really great roots as well. But these plants, they grow super big roots. Now, the cages did affect this plant, and I can't say that it was different conditions or anything like that. Both of the plants were purchased on the clearance rack. Of course, they could have had different origins, but I've had this plant for 2 years now. For 2 years, those plants have been growing, and they've been growing in the same pot. So at this point, they've been balanced out. In the time, the longevity, if I had left this with those cages on it, one of the plants would have died. Definitely. And I'm going to show you, maybe I've already shown you, the footage that I took of me unpotting this plant because it was significant. I was completely shocked when I saw the effect that those cages have. In the long run, it's really not very good for these plants, especially since they have such robust roots. The cages were plastic, so they weren't going anywhere. Perhaps if you have the little mesh, well, the mesh, they tend to, I guess it's supposed to disintegrate after a while, but from what I've seen, like, well, a lot of my alocasia will have the mesh on the base of the root, and once the bulbs or the corms start to grow inside that mesh, I always notice that my plant starts to decline. So it does make a difference. And to me, I would never leave them on my plants anymore. And I would love to know if you guys have had a different experience where it just didn't bother your plants. And again, this plant is 2 years old, so it has actually gone a very long period of time, and it's quite a sizable plant, but it was not, it would have definitely killed off the plant with the little traps on the bottom of it. Even now, I'm looking underneath. One of the plants is just a lot healthier than the other, and I'm almost positive it's the one that had the traps removed. So I just wanted to share that with you. I know that this has been something that a lot of people just say they just don't know if it makes a difference, or if you leave them on or take them off. In the long run, for me, it does make a difference. And this plant showed me that. And so I think that especially for big plants like this, or anything I plan on growing out for a long period of time, I will definitely remove those traps from my plants, because I wouldn't want to fall in love with a plant and then all of a sudden see it start to decline and just not understand why. So yes, this BJ Freeman, I love her so much. Her leaves are so beautiful. When I saw her in the store, I was in love. I know Janae Simone, she has the rest of my collection. She has amazing pink and red Agleonema, and she just has the rest of my collection. I don't do very well with Agleonema, so the ones that I have, I really put my all into them. I have a couple of them over here that I'm looking at that I can honestly say just bring me so much happiness. But I feel as if I have the Agleonema that I can keep up with, because just like snake plants and ZZ plants, they really don't like to be watered very often. And since I'm an overwaterer, yeah, they tend to suffer with me, which is why I put this one into semi-hydro, because I know it will just do better if it's just living in more of a moist situation all the time, and it just gets its roots adapted to that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful for you. And I, again, just wanted to share my findings with this after 2 years of having this plant. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and enjoy all your plant babies. Bye, guys.